You're listening to Health Professional Radio. My name is Wayne Buckler and my guest today is Matt Relf from the Sydney Children's Hospital Network. Matt joins us from Sydney, Australia. Good morning to you, Matt.
Hi, Wayne. Hi. Thanks for chatting today and finding out about the music therapy program.
It's my pleasure. Now, Matt, I see here in your bio you're a music therapist. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Okay. Well, it's a postgrad. I studied a master's in music therapy at University of Technology in Sydney, and that meant that I could join the Australian Music Therapy Association. And I'm just going to go. It's a little bit quieter.
Yep.
Then so if you're qualified, then and you've got the degree, then you can become a member of the Australian Music Therapy Association, and then you are able to work in the hospital system in Australia. So I was lucky enough to finish the course and then be offered a full-time job here at Sydney Kids Hospital. So very, very lucky and really enjoy it.
Now, Matt, this is something that some of our listeners might be sceptical about, and most of our listeners are, in fact, clinicians of one sort or another in acute care hospitals. Yeah. And in fact, they may now be mocking me and going, no, we understand it entirely and we think it's wonderful and we love it. But for the skeptic in me, give me some idea of what happens and how it works.
Yeah, sure, of course. Music therapy can often be found in populations with special needs. Can be found in aged care and can be found in kids' hospitals or children that have special needs or autistic places. And it's because it encourages families, kids. I'm just going to talk about sort of my experience in the kids' hospital, but it encourages the kids and the families that we work with to cope with the treatment, which is really important for a lot of children who will be here for quite extended periods of time. So what we do is work on achieving what might be termed, and there's been studies into it, called courageous coping, which is where we encourage the kids through the music to meet the environment, to try and change the environment, to communicate with the environment, to feel comfortable in the environment, all these sort of ways of expressing themselves, which means that they're going to meet they've got a better chance of meeting their developmental goals. It means that if they're here for a longer period of time, that they're not going to have issues with socialization. So it's a lot how I see my role is it's a lot to do with encouraging the kids and families to cope positively with the treatment that they go through here. And that can be done in many different ways. It can be about exploring instruments. It can be about writing songs about how they're feeling. It could be we've got lots of different ways of connecting them to the community in the hospital. Yeah, so that's one aspect. But I believe it's an important one. As your listeners would be aware that children can cope very differently with situations, and if they perceive an environment to be threatening, then there's a large chance that they'll use like protective coping mechanisms, and that can really have a bad impact on their development and just their well-being. So we try and open them back up again and get them engaging through lots of different ways.
And I noticed the Sydney Children's Hospital has a music video program. Tell me about that.
Okay, yeah. That meets objectives of socialization, of creativity, of linking kids back into the community. It's a language which they understand. Quite often can be used with lots of different age groups. If they're older, they can get really engaged in actually creating the music video clip. If they're younger, then they can have a lot of fun being part of it. There's some research done with clinical trials which have shown that music video clips, especially in oncology populations in isolation, that it improved their resilience markedly and quite significantly, which is great research which is being done. It supports what we do here. As just a quick little example of something which we've just done in the last couple of weeks is we had a young boy who has a brain tumor. It's quite advanced and very difficult situation for the little boy and for the parents. And had to move state, had to move from Canberra to Sydney for treatment. This is where music therapy can step in and hopefully make a large difference to the experience of the family and the child. So we did, as part of our music video program, we found out what the boy really liked. He liked Kiss, the band Kiss. He's only 6, but he really enjoyed Kiss's music and the whole look of Kiss. So then, as part of the program, we teed up with the Starlight Children's Foundation to face paint him and also his whole family as members of KISS. We created a music video to a KISS song, which involved nurses and hospital staff and across the hospital to engage him socially and engage with the community in the hospital. And then we showed it on a sort of a hospital TV network, which he really enjoyed being part of. He got to connect to the show the Captain Starlights a lot more. He got to send that video to his friends and his family. It really lifted the mood of the family. Obviously, there's memory making involved there, and that's very important. And then that was shared on a larger scale, and it even got across to America, where Gene Simmons saw the video, and then he ended up tweeting him and contacting him, and then the newspaper contacted Gene Simmons, and all of a sudden it went from moving from state to state to actually being part of a global community that showed that they cared for him. I think that was a good example of how the music video program can work.
From little seeds, big things grow. My name is Wayne Buckler, and you're listening to my conversation with Matt Relf, a music therapist, the Sydney Children's Hospital Network, and this is Health Professional Radio. Matt, those stories of connection and an extension like that certainly have an impact at the heartstrings. Is there evidence of therapeutic benefit?
I think the evidence of therapeutic benefit would be hand in hand with evidence relating to resilience and the power of resilience in meeting and coping with treatment. So I know that there is a great deal of specific research in music therapeutically. There's many articles about that. In my experience, I see it each day and get feedback from the staff and from the kids themselves and the families about what it means. It genuinely assists in their mood in the hospital, and each strand of what you might consider to be the building blocks of resilience, music works with. So whether it's courage, whether it's feeling at ease in the environment, whether it's expressing themselves, all the strands that kind of create resilience, music works very closely with and builds on. Also work with, have conversations with the physiotherapists about, just engaging them physically, warming them up. We've got a click stick program where we hand out wooden sticks, and we have different songs and activities that go along with these sticks, and also drums, so that we basically get them moving. We change the energy of the room. So we have very specific therapeutic goals, and we see those goals being met each day. And the good thing about music is that it's very flexible and it's very wide-ranging. So on the one hand, you might say, well, music therapy, what's that? It's just using music. But and in which case it's hard to explain. But on the other hand, it's actually so flexible that it can meet very specific therapeutic goals very easily. And also underlying it is a huge, powerful, empathetic relationship, which can be utilized at any point. So I might work with a child who on building a sort of an enjoyable environment for them for a few weeks. We might do Johnny Cash songs, we might do Elvis Presley, Creedence Clearwater songs, other songs. Whilst we're lifting the child's mood, we're also building a very strong relationship, which then, if there's issues like medical compliance, which we have been, or maybe the child has to get into a car seat with a halo on, and they don't want to do this, then we can use that very strong relationship, and I'll often get a referral saying, such and such is not taking their medication. Can you work with them on this? Or we need to, or an OT might say, we need to maneuver this child into this chair. Can you please help with that? Because music can be used, it can be used effectively because we have this relationship, and the children associate music with having a good time, and they're less likely to get anxious, and they're more likely to be courageous. So, I'm kept busy all day, and with very specific therapeutic goals. So I would totally advocate for music therapy is a valuable therapeutic intervention. Yeah.
I'm talking with Matt Relf, a music therapist at the Sydney Children's Hospital Network, and it sounds like, Matt, it's certainly not a dull job. I'd just like to make mention that your position's made possible thanks to funding from Red Kite, ACMF and the Sydney Children's Hospital Foundation. It's been a pleasure to chat with you this morning, and I do appreciate your time. Thank you for being on Health Professional Radio.
Oh, thanks very much, Wayne, and really enjoyed talking with you, and I hope that's shared some of the work that we do and why it's a valuable program in the hospital for the kids and families.
Now, we have a transcript of this interview on our website at www.hpr.fm. You can also have a listen to the archive of the audio either on SoundCloud or on YouTube. This is Wayne Buckler on Health Professional Radio.